Hello everybody, this is Adrienne with Ascension Soul Coaching. Today is August the 11th, 2023, and I want to talk to you today about the Maui fires. And then they said this is like one of the worst catastrophic events that they've had since the 60s when they had a typhoon come through. So currently they're like at 53 people have passed, I believe, and there's still hundreds of other people missing. So I want to do a quick reading on that because I know back about 6 or 7 months ago, maybe 8 months ago, Oprah Winfrey purchased a large amount of land in Maui. And I was thinking, I know she stays there. I know she goes there to visit a lot with her friends. But it was like, okay, with all this land purchases of the elites, like with Bill Gates purchasing a lot of the farmland in America, I'm like, well, what's going to happen with this land in Maui with Oprah? It hit my piqued my interest in it, and I've been watching it. And so now we see that the Maui's on fire, just like the Canadian wildfires, and then there was fires in Greece. And so I'm like thinking, what are these people trying to do? Well, we do understand that there is this thing called the 15-minute cities, and what in the agenda, what they're trying to do is to get everybody corralled into certain areas within their state so they can be better controlled. Get you out of your house, get you into an apartment or a townhouse, like in Korea or China, and they just build up. So, and then everything around you would be your vicinity or your district for you to stay in, and you can cross over districts with passport identities or digital passports, just like you would have to use going forward to travel out of the country. There are going to be a certain systems like that in your state and your city and your county. Now, this is the plan, and y'all need to read up on it yourself with the UN agenda for the SDGs, which means Sustainable Development Goals. Okay, so I'm just giving you a thing of what I saw and what I keep my pulse on when I am looking at what's happening in the world. Okay, so nothing really happened. This is only a few months ago. So when this fires broke out, the first thing I did is I said, okay, well, let me look and see what Hawaii, what partnership Hawaii has with the WEF. And voila, they have been planning for a while, working with the UN on these sustainable development goals with their land. Okay.
Declared a housing emergency today and signed a proclamation to push through Hawaii's regulatory red tape.
But some worry about unintended consequences. Our Eddie Dowd is here now with new reaction tonight.
The governor is suspending about 24 laws or state rules to help speed up construction of affordable housing. But some worry it will attract more outsiders to move here, and the problem will continue.
I'd like to call on our building community, please step up now. Please come to the table and build these projects for us.
Governor Green says the new emergency proclamation cuts the red tape to add another 12,000 housing units to the 50,000 already in the pipeline over the next decade. About 60% of them must qualify as affordable.
I applaud the fact that he has wanted to take this step. It's been long needed. I think much good will come from it.
For those that question whether there's an emergency proclamation, let me just say, Hawaiians are dying out there.
The proclamation creates a new lead housing officer and a 22-member working group to speed up the development process.
The goal is to approve projects provided that they are both in the public interest and also that they do live up to the values we have about the environment.
More criticism comes from within the working group. One of its members, the Sierra Club, is worried that the proclamation suspends environmental and cultural protection laws, as well as sunshine laws requiring disclosure of meetings and records.
All of the tools that we have to keep Hawaii, so many of those tools are getting thrown out the window with this proclamation.
And state officials say when the developer is approved in this fast-track process, they have 3 years to get the project built. Eddie Dowd, Hawaii News Now.
And then just 3 or 4 weeks ago, the governor of Hawaii visited the UN and was a keynote speaker about the sustainability of Hawaii. And he has pushed through some legislation within the state so that he can push forward development of apartment complexes, what they call it, affordable housing.
Governor Josh Green touted Hawaii's sustainability accomplishments at the United Nations Economic and Social Council in New York City. The governor was the keynote speaker in the forum that included more than 40 presenters from around the world. Green pointed out that Hawaii is in a unique position as an island state and has tried to lead the way in promoting renewable energy.
We tried to lead on energy and climate. We were the first state to mandate 100% renewable energy for electricity. So it's, again, an opportunity as a small state with technically a small footprint, but we do punch above our weight a little bit because of our position in the Pacific.
Speakers were invited to help implement the United Nations Agenda for Sustainable Development Goals in 2030.
And if you look in each state and overseas, everybody now is talking about affordable housing. The affordable housing will lend itself to the infrastructure for these mega apartment complexes to be built for people who are going to lose their jobs to AI and to the high cost of living that's happening right now. And they're going to move these people into these apartments and townhouses. This is worldwide. This is how they're saying they're going to protect the land, protect water, protect the environment by condensing everybody into smaller areas. So I go back to the Maui fires. So how does that connect it? Well, one, he's already has this plan to, before the fires, to bring in all these developers to come in to create these affordable housing projects. Now that they've burned everything down in Maui, and it's burned down, y'all, they're going to rebuild. And they're going to get federal funds now also to back that program. Do you see how it all fits together? Just 3 to 4 weeks ago, he was at the UN talking about how they want to, work on affordable housing, and he's passed laws and overwritten laws to be able to do that, and wanted the developers to come in to quickly build these houses. And now you have this whole area cleared of houses where they're going to rebuild apartment complexes. Wait and see, because they're putting it under the heading of affordable housing for the Maui residents who've lost their houses. So I want to do a quick reading. I want to give you a background on that, because listen, this is going to be happening all over the world. Different things, flooding, fires, hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes. And you're saying, how do you know this? Because HAARP, H-A-A-R-P, look it up, our countries across the world have been studying weather and how to manipulate weather for a very long time, y'all. Don't get it twisted. And other things that it can do to alter and impact the environment. If they want to get rid of people and move them out of certain areas, you don't do it all at once. You do it in certain pockets, and you get those people out of that area, and then you bring them back once you've redeveloped everything, because you're going to displace them and then bring them back into a different capacity. So I'm going to do a reading on that. I just want y'all to understand where I'm coming from, so I'm just not coming out of thin air and you're saying, well, this, Maui has nothing to do with England, or has nothing to do with Scotland, or has nothing to do with Australia. I'm saying, listen, look around in your neighborhood, in your cities, in your states, and look at all the apartment complexes, multifaceted apartment complexes is coming up in your area. I live in close to Northern Virginia, so I see cities that are already compact with apartments are now being renovated and even more put in quickly. And so it's rampant. If you're not looking, you won't see it, but it shouldn't take long for you to see or be asking, why are all these apartment complexes are coming up? And this is what they're doing. They're preparing for people to lose their jobs and to be dependent upon the government, and they're going to put people in, corral them in these certain areas of their city. So my thing was, I wanted to pull a card today and talk about that. And the first thing was, what gates are being opened that these fires are creating? So I wanted to confirm or, find another reason as to why these fires are happening. So I'm using the, it's the Tarot of the 78 Doors. Okay. And the card I pulled today, and I haven't even read it, okay, is the Act of Wands in its reverse. Okay. Good to see that. The Ace of Wands, I'm sorry, the Ace of Wands. So, we know anything about the Ace of Wands, it's about a new opportunity, it's about action, taking action. Now this is reversed. So what I'm thinking is that the action that the governor and the UN are trying to create with the city of Maui has been hampered, because they were trying to do something, open some doors so they can start their projects. Now it's going to be a delay because of this calamity, right? Somebody more than likely set that area on fire. One, I want y'all to understand, you can do your own research on this, is that Maui, it's an island, and it rains a lot there. So how do you have a fire start so quickly, so fast, in a wet-ish type of environment and burn the whole city down? How does that happen? How does that happen? Okay, just put your thinking caps on and think about that. Think somebody stepped in and they're trying to push back. And hey, so the other thing I wanted to know, I pulled another card, and this card is from the Divine Doors. These are oracle cards. It's more about, like, you know, what doors are opening for you, that, and how can you walk through them and make things better. And so for this card, I got let's raise that up. It's the Odyssey. This is the door. So I'm going to read, and it's beautiful because to me it looks kind of like Maui flowers. So I'm going to read to you on the back. So just excuse me for a second, put my glasses on. What it says is, it's the Odyssey. This is the back of it. And so it says, take in the beauty of country lands and botany. Explore the wonder like a gypsy traveler's odyssey. Explore the wonder like a gypsy traveler's odyssey. So the door that's open, take in the beauty of country lands and botany. So take in the beauty of your country, of your lands, because this is what they're trying to do. They're trying to say they're maintaining the land, right? This is what the SDGs and the UN are trying to say, you know, protect your land, right? But the people and the residents who are living there, they're saying, look, we don't like what you're doing. We like how yes, of course, every area can be improved, but we like the way our country, our state is, our city is. We don't want these huge developments coming in here, wrecking our community. This is how they feel. And I do believe that they have stepped in, those community people or people on their side or whatever, have stepped in and says, we're going to protect the lands the way we want to protect the lands, and we're going to keep it natural, and we're going to keep it beautiful, and we're not going to have these skyscrapers everywhere that's going to be housing people coming from all over the world to, you know, overpopulate our area. So this is what I think this card is saying. So yes, I believe that this is an inside job from people with opposition to the UN and the SDGs and what the Governor Green has agreed to do with the UN to put that housing in there and put these plans in operation. Mauians are fighting back. And what I asked you the other day when I did my video with the Donald Trump thing about the aliens and Donald Trump and, you know, what's our future, is what the question is, what can we do? And there's always something we can do to fight back. And if they're not listening and they're bulldozing their way through making their changes, and I think the opposition's coming in and they're bulldozing their way to stop. If you're going to take what we have, we'll burn it down first. I mean, that is a huge possibility. That is what I'm reading out of these cards, because they're going to protect it the way they can. Because one thing you know about Hawaii is very resilient. They've had volcanoes and typhoons, and if you let nature do what nature does, it will come back just as beautiful as it was prior to any calamity there. But if you build these skyscrapers and these huge apartment complexes and bring all these people in to corral them, it's going to take away from the beauty. It's going to take away from their freedom of living the way they want to live, and they're fighting back. I don't think those fires were naturally set. I do believe it was created. That's my opinion based on the cards I'm reading. And people are starting to fight back about these new laws and regulations that these government organizations who have joined up with the UN, they're fighting back in the best way they can. And it's a word to the wise for other countries, other cities, other states, that if you want to stop what's happening, sometimes you've got to come up with a solution for your area, and that's the best for you all to stop it. Because if they don't want to listen and they're going to bulldoze their way through and make these things happen, you're going to have to figure out a way to stop it. Whether it's protests, it's voting, it's creating a team of people within your community that's going to help you come up with a plan and a resolution to fight it. You're going to have to do something, because they want this to go forward. They have the money. They have the people behind them in the office to do what they have planned. And we've been sitting on the sidelines not paying attention. So now it's time to get yourself together. And you know, sometimes, like I told you before, you could be persecuted for fighting back, okay? But you got to do the right thing for you. You got to do the right thing for your community. And we've got to do the right thing for this world. We have got to get off our buns and do something. Read up on what's happening. Keep your pulse on what's happening. Get yourself together, because this stuff is happening. And thank God there's people who are saying, no, we're not going to allow this to happen to our area. There's better ways to do it. I believe it. I mean, maybe they didn't think the whole place was going to burn down, but I think that you fight fire with fire. That's another thing. That's the same thing that's happening in Canada with the wildfires there. The wildfires is happening in Greece, or just happened in Greece. Pay attention. What is the ultimate goal when you see people lose their houses, like in Alaska, houses are falling into the water? All of a sudden, it's not climate change, and that's of course what they want us to think. It is, some of the stuff is man-made. Some of this stuff is accentuated by man to happen so that we can all be afraid and get on board with the climate change. You have to be more thoughtful than that. Unfortunately, there are people in this world who don't have your best interests at heart. They're not taking into consideration what you feel, and you need to speak up. It's more of us than them, and we need to make a change. So do your own research of what you think is happening, but I think that there's a war, and this is not just a physical war, people. This is a spiritual war. There's a war to take our rights away. There's a war to take away our spiritual ability to make our own decisions and to live life the way we want to live life, as long as we're not hurting anybody. All that's being eradicated right now because there are certain people who want to protect themselves irregardless of you. Okay, so that is my reading. You need to be reading up on these 15-minute cities, people. You need to know what's happening so you can speak up. This is the time to speak up. This is it. This is it. This is it. All right, y'all. Have a great day. Talk to you later. Blessings.